It is very important if you want to design, if you want to be a designer, that your product has an identity, a reason to be, and therefore it has to offer something different, it has to offer a personality, or it has to have a marketing catch that is very unique and very special. The last thing you want to do is something that is totally generic, especially today, where you can find anything at any price. And therefore, that is a huge competition that is absurd to get into it. So you have to find a niche. You have to find something, a niche that is special, that hasn't been done. It has to be a single, it has to stand for something. So it either has to be a single product or a type of fabric or a type of something, but it is very important that you have one product. And when you start, you could actually imagine and design a collection, and then all of a sudden you'll understand that, oh, there's one common thing, you know, maybe it's bows, or maybe you work with zippers and you use zippers as ornament, or whatever it is. You have to stand for something. What does it mean to have the product stand for something? That means that it's just like for a person. It has to have a personality. It has to have a reason to be. It has to be something that you remember. We said that to have a product or a single product or a single idea is very important to build around it. So how do you have that idea? I think it's, again, it's a question of, it's an idea that makes sense, that doesn't exist, and that I would like to wear, or that my friend will want to wear. That's how you go about it. When you design something, you have to make sure that there is a market for it. And the market means desire. So you have to make it, go around and see the reaction of people. See if people react to it or don't get it at all. It's the demand that tells you that. You create, you know, there's the offer and the demand, and that is the basic principle of commerce. It's always good if you remember that you are a consumer. And so if you do a woman's product, I mean, that is something that you want to wear. It's something that you need. It's something that you don't find anywhere. If you are a man designer, it's important that, you know, your best friend wears it or needs it or likes it. I mean, you need to have that traction in order to know that it makes sense. All right, so the portfolio I have now in front of me is Inlay by Susanna Ola. And it has a beautiful inspirational image of Myanmar. It's very peaceful and the colors are very beautiful. I see a very interesting, unique technique of a cover lock machine makes a little technique. And so I think it's very nice. And then I see kind of sweater dresses where that technique is used. Because truly, Susanna, if you are interested in the things that you say, if you're interested in the workmanship of this particular stitch, that means you love stitches. So I think you should focus on stitches. What's the story of this stitch? How can I make this stitch? In how many fabrics, in how many colors? And then you focus on the stitch. Maybe it's not even a sweater, maybe it's just a scarf, but just focus on that. The stitch is your DNA. Push the stitch as far as you can. So I have a very interesting portfolio here by Olga Kapochenko, who is of Slavic origin and who, like me, is Belgian. And it is a very nicely presented portfolio, and it's about a collection of ties. It's women ties, and it has a whole bunch of ideas about wearing ties. So my first reaction was, other than I do love this portfolio because it's so well done, men are trying desperately to get out of ties, and why would women want to wear them? But maybe that is precisely the interesting question, because clearly there's an idea here, and it's a fun idea. And Olga, you are clearly creative. You are creative, you have an eye, and you have an idea. But my advice to you, you should go and try to work for a designer. If you're in Belgium, try to go and work for Dries van Nouten, because there's something, the way you decorate the tie, maybe what you should learn is embellishment. Do you know what embellishment? Embellishment is how you decorate, right? How you embroider, or how do you print, or how do you do, do all these things. So my advice to you, I don't want to discourage you about your idea of ties, because I never want to encourage anyone of an original idea, and maybe your tie becomes a jewel. Maybe your tie is something that's very embellished and that you wear as a necklace. Maybe you're saying tie, but maybe it will be like a necklace. I don't know. But definitely, I think you should work for a designer. I think that you have a wonderful sense of graphic. I think that you should look into embellishment. What other students can learn about the portfolio? Well, that she has an idea and she shows it very clearly. And that is the way you should have a portfolio. I get it. I understand it. I understand a lot about you and about the product that you design. This is a very, very nice portfolio, and I encourage every student to look at it. I always tell people, get close to who makes it. You see, I started in a factory, and nothing, and therefore what I did is I designed around what that factory was making. They were making printed jersey, and therefore I designed printed jersey dresses. So it's the fabric that pushed me. There were wraps before I created the wrap dresses. The wrap is a kimono, it's a toga, it's any dress that doesn't have a closure. But nobody had done it in jersey and in printed jersey. So I made this, first it was a little wrap top, then it became a little wrap dress. I had, in printed jersey, I picked feline, leopard and animal prints, and all of a sudden a woman felt like a feline, and that became the DNA of my brand. But of course, I was extremely lucky. It's very rare to have such a strong, iconic product that lasts as long as my wrap dresses has lasted. And then that became my personality. That became the DNA of my brand. And 40 plus years later, the brand still does that. They do other things, but they still do that.